Our publication that reviews the 2024 activities of the African Union Peace and Security Council revealed a troubling reality. Africa is entering a new era of insecurity and instability. Conflicts are growing in number and complexity, while the gap between the demand for effective responses and the actual provision of solutions is widening. This is eroding the credibility of the African Union and its Peace and Security Council. Let's explore the key features of this new era based on our research findings. This is Amani Africa Dispatch, our videocast on current political, governance, and peace and security affairs of continental and multilateral policy importance. One alarming trend is the trait of redrawing Africa's map. In the Horn of Africa, tensions between Ethiopia and Somalia over Somaliland's potential recognition have reignited old divisions. Meanwhile, in the Great Lakes region, the M23's advances in eastern DRC are threatening the country's constitutional administration, raising fears of territorial disintegration. Similarly, the raging war in Sudan has forced some in Sudan to believe separation as a way to avoid violence and instability. Conflicts across the continent are escalating in both number and geographical spread, with some regions becoming global terrorism hotspots. In this regard, our research indicates that between 2013 and 2023, conflict events more than doubled, rising from 1,671 in 2013 to a peak of 4,230 in 2023, an increase of approximately 153%. West Africa and East Africa have been particularly hard hit, bearing the brunt of this surge in violence. This growing trend is also reflected in the African Union Peace and Security Council's agenda, where the number of conflict-related agenda items surged from 10 in 2013 to 43 in 2023. Between 2013 and 2023, the human toll of spreading conflicts was also devastating, with an average of 49,711 conflict-related fatalities annually. A dramatic peak occurred in 2021 when the death toll surged to a conservative estimate of 188,947. With terrorism becoming the major conflict driver in Africa, in 2024, terrorist incidents and fatalities reached unprecedented levels, particularly in the Sahel, West Africa, and the Horn of Africa. Civilians bear the brunt of this violence, accounting for 67% of all fatalities. Interstate tensions have intensified. The Rwanda-DRC conflict, fueled by the M23, the Ethiopia-Somalia dispute over Somaliland, the Niger-Benin tension, and the Chad-Sudan fallout are just a few examples. These tensions are undermining regional cooperation and complicating peace efforts. The data shows a general upward trend from 2013 to 2020, representing a 63% increase in internationalized conflicts. Humanitarian emergencies are worsening. In 2024, over 45 million people are forcibly displaced, with Sudan and the DRC accounting for the majority. As indicated in our publications, the number of refugees increased by 160%, while the number of internally displaced persons rose by 166% between 2013 and 2023. Conflicts are marked by atrocity crimes, including sexual violence and the weaponization of food, leading to famine in regions like Darfur and the South Kordofan. The threat of state collapse looms large, and the Sahel terrorist groups are undermining state authority. According to the 2023 Global Terrorism Index, 4 of the 10 countries most affected by conflicts involving terrorist groups are located in the Sahel. In Sudan and the DRC, conflicts are fragmenting territories. Regional orders are falling apart. West Africa's ECOWAS is fracturing as Burkina Faso, Mali, and Niger withdraw to form their own alliance. Similar strains are evident in the Horn of Africa and the Great Lakes, where conflicts are spilling across borders, undermining regional stability. Political transitions are stalling. Apart from the stalled transitional processes in Burkina Faso, Guinea, Mali, and Niger, complicated by the existential threat facing the Sahelian countries, Sudan's ongoing conflict has derailed hopes for civilian rule. South Sudan has postponed its long-awaited elections from December 2024 to 2026 for a second time. This democratic backsliding is deepening security vulnerabilities in various parts of the continent. 2024 was Africa's year of elections, but the outcomes were mixed. While some countries, such as Botswana and Mauritius, saw peaceful democratic transitions, others, such as Mozambique, experienced violent protests and allegations of fraud, highlighting the fragility of democratic processes. Global and regional powers like Russia, the UAE, Turkey, Saudi Arabia are competing against France and the US, and between each other, intensifying the meddling in African conflicts, fueling violence and complicated peace efforts. Given this new era in insecurity and instability, Africa and the African Union stand at a crossroads. The African Union and its Peace and Security Council must act proactively with strategic clarity to navigate this new era. So, the question is, what must be done? Our publication provides key recommendations. 1. A comprehensive reassessment of how the African Union implements the African peace and security architecture is needed to ensure it's fit to address current and future threats. Convening a special African Union summit in 2025 can set the foundation for this strategic shift. 2. In order to maximize impact, the Peace and Security Council must rationalize its work program, focusing on conflict situations and reducing the overcrowding of its agenda with thematic discussions. 3. With external actors shaping Africa's conflicts, the African Union must strengthen its diplomatic tools and present a united voice. The African Union must bolster its leadership in mediating conflicts by ensuring that it is ahead of the conflict curve and acts with speed, clear strategy, and robust support from member states. 4. The Peace and Security Council monthly programs should prioritize continental interests and move away from trends in recent years in which they get dominated by national interest consideration of individual member states. 5. The African Union must prioritize diplomacy and consensus building to mobilize collective action critical to resolve conflicts sustainably. The African Union needs to enhance its defense of and leveraging of its peace and security norms and the articulation of technically sound strategies for conflict prevention and resolution for enlisting and harnessing the support of member states. 6. To prevent new conflicts, the African Union and regional economic communities must strengthen early warning mechanisms and, importantly, the timely deployment of policy interventions and response. 7. The African Union must reclaim leadership in deploying peace support missions, leveraging the African Standby Force and the United Nations-backed Resolution 2719. 8. Commitments and policy decisions must translate into action. Systematic follow-ups on the African Union and Peace and Security Council resolutions will enhance credibility and effectiveness. The challenges are immense, but so is the potential for change. By acting decisively and collectively, the African Union and its member states can safeguard the African Union's agenda and the interests of the peoples of the continent from the dangers that the unprecedented volatility and uncertainty of the global order poses.